Okay, right. So let's as we're down, let's start on the floor. So let's definitely go for a little bit of movement here first. So what I'd like you to do is try and think that I've got a pole and I've stuck it right down your back. So there is no possibility of you doing that. I need you to be completely upright because the pole is there and you can't move. So that's our first position. And then we're putting our hands to the side and then we're going to bring our arms up nice and tall and folding forwards. So flex your toes, fold forward, just hold on to those toes. If you haven't got hold of those toes, just hold on to something, but I just don't want you to hold on to the back of your leg, okay? So it's the top of your leg. And then wherever you are, drop your head down. Now, if you do happen to have your toes and it's not like too much of a strain, I want you to just push your toes forward and then drop your head because it's that'll get more of a stretch. And if that's still like, nah, that's still not too bad, you can just take your foot and push it lower. Hold it there. Okay, release. Bring your arms all the way up, nice and tall. And bring it back down. Just give your legs a tiny little wriggle. Right, same thing again. So reaching up, deep breath in. And fold forwards. Really try very hard to fold, not curl. So fold forwards first. And head down. Hold it there, and remember if you've got your feet pushing forwards. Okay, release what you have and bring it all the way up nice and tall and bring it down. Right, I'm just going to move to the front. You stay where you are. Right, again, I've still got that pole in there, so there's going to be, the movement is going to be this way now, but I still want you to keep your posture and just keep that tiny little bit of core active there. One hand onto the floor, one hand up, and before we move, nice and tall. That's it, nice and tall, and then we're coming over. So try and keep both bum cheeks on the floor. I'm going to bring it up nice and tall. Bring it down first, then the other one up, nice and tall first, and then bring it over. Just note how far you're coming down. It's like, yeah, that's fairly far. And then when we do it again, see if it's any further. So again, just give your legs a little jiggle, reset. One arm up tall first, now coming over. Now, just think, oh, maybe I can go a bit lower. Just making sure that this isn't happening. Okay, keep it down. If you can, and only if, you can put your forearm on the floor. As long as that doesn't mean you start leaning forwards, okay? You do need to stay upright. Bring yourself up. That's it. And the other way. Now, you may notice, nice and tall first, you may notice you can't go quite the same on one way than the other. This is way more stiff for me. Left side's horrific in comparison to right. And try and keep yourself nice and stable. And then bring yourself back up. Lovely. And again, just give your legs a little jig. Right, we're rolling our shoulders. Again, try and keep your posture. And the other way. If this is absolutely burning your hip flexors and your legs, just give them a bend, okay? Try to keep upright. If they're really, really hurting, just bend your legs. Okay, bring your hands together. And this is for the people typing today. Just give them a little whirl and the other way if you can. Good, and a little shake. Wonderful. Right, so now I want you to cross your legs. We'll come back to some specific calf stuff in a second. We'll have to turn over to do that. So first of all, just make sure that your knees are free, so they haven't got a foot underneath them that gets stuck. So just make sure that you've got enough space around you that your knees have every chance to come to the floor without getting stuck on something else. hands together, elbows out. And this is easier for some people than others, because if you are up here, that's not going to be quite so easy to press to the floor. If you are up here, I just want you to bring your hands together and push out. If you're down here, I want you to lean slightly forwards and really push those knees to the floor. And just get those hips to relax. Now, it may be the case that at least one of them is not having any of it. If you give it about 12 to 15 seconds, it should just go and eventually give up. That's it. Just use your head as a bit of a weight and drop down. A lot of stress held here. So if they are particularly tight, it might be that it's just caught, the stress is just caught in your hips. That's it. Now, eventually they should just go oof. Good. Okay, slowly bring yourself out of that. Now I want you to swap legs. So if whatever leg was in front, you're going to bring that to the back and then the other one in front. Now again, this is probably not your more natural way of sitting, so just be aware that one leg might do that in comparison to the other one. So again, if you're up here, you're going to use your elbows to squeeze out. If you can bring it down, we're going to use our elbows to come down to the floor. But again, just be aware. For example, you can see that left is having none of it, this right's fully on the floor. So just be aware that one leg might complain more than the other one. And just try and relax into it. That's it. Okay, just very gently roll your way out of that. Lovely. Come back to the more natural way of crossing your legs. Good. Right, so we're going to just make sure that this plane of movement's working nicely this evening. So we're going to start gently. I just want you to put your hand on the opposite knee. Bring your hand behind, so it's not on the floor, it's just behind you. And you can rest it round. Just curl it round and then just look over your shoulder. Use this leg a little bit to create a little bit of momentum and just look over your shoulder. So this shouldn't be too horrendous. It should just be quite a nice gentle start to twisting your background. That's it, and bring it back. Exactly the same thing on the other side. So taking hold of the opposite leg, wrap your hand round. It may not go all the way around, that's absolutely fine, as long as it's behind you and on your back. Just look over your shoulder. Good, and come back to center. Right, let's exaggerate that. So keep these where they are. You're going to bring your hand over, and then we're going to bring our arm up and over, and then bring it behind you and twist. I'm going to do that to the side so you can see a little bit clearer. That's it, just remember to breathe. It's not so easy to breathe in this one. Good, and slowly bring yourself back. Go the other way. So opposite side, arm nice and tall and over, reach behind you, and then we're twisting. So if this knee is starting to creep up again, bring it down, but use it as leverage to twist yourself around. Now try and deep breath in. On the out breath, you might be able to sink around just a millimetre more. Good, and just bring it nice and slowly back. Right, lovely. Okay, just give your arms a little shake out. Arms in front of you, we're going to bring them up nice and tall. So really, really stretch up nice and tall, and then continue the circle backwards, and we're going to put them behind us. And again, I'll turn. We're going to lift our chest and in effect just squeeze your shoulder blades together at the back. Now what that does is it's stretching the pectoral muscles out here, but the reason I'm asking you to do that is because if you're typing all day, they get really tight and they'll stop your posture from being upright. That's it, really give them a nice little squeeze. Just be careful of your chin. I don't want that coming backwards, it's just looking forward. Okay, just come forward and bring yourself out of that. Now we're going to come round, and again, as if you're holding one of those big Swiss balls. Your back needs to arch, but what I want you to think about is your shoulder blades coming around, sort of coming out and round about. So I'm going to ask you to sort of split your shoulder blades a bit more. Head down, tummy pulled in. Take a couple of deep breaths and that should expand it further. Right, bringing it back round again, hands behind you, and then exactly the same thing. So squeeze your shoulder blades, lift your chest nice and high. This will arch your back, as long as you're not throwing your head back. Again, 2 nice deep breaths. And back up. And forwards, around. Drop your head. Pull your tummy in, 2 deep breaths. Lovely. Just drop your shoulders. Wonderful. Right, before we move on to anything else, I just want to concentrate on this area a little bit. We're going to do a bit more when we're down on the floor. And Tracy and I did a really lovely exercise earlier where you were basically using your own head weight, which feels quite nice. But as you know, and as we did this morning, nice little class, oh, I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. Okay. So we're going to roll backwards and drop your shoulders. Now, what I want you to think about is that I've got my hands on your shoulders and I'm just slightly putting a bit of pressure on them. So it's lengthening your neck very slightly. And then you're going to take your chin and put it down. So you're looking down into your lap and just try and create that length in the top of your spine and around your shoulders. Just hold it here. That should feel relatively strong. And if you've got the image, I'm pushing down on your shoulders a little bit, then that should help. Now, whilst you're here, I want you, your hands should be either side. I want you to twist your head and look to one of your hands. You're still in the exact same position, but I just want you to twist your head to look at your hand. Breathe and hold it there. That should be relatively strong. Bring it back to the center, still keeping those shoulders down, and then look to the other hand. So keep it nice and low. It's a very small move. It does make quite a difference. Bring it back to center. Bring your head up to look at the screen again, and then just relax. Now, if that is sore today, that's going to be quite strong. So I'm going to turn to the side and we'll do that again. So nice big circle and drop. And then we're going to drop our head. So you can see this, my shoulders are quite low. Hands out to the side again. So keep it there. And then we're going to look, just twist your head and look to one hand on the floor. Keep it nice and steady. No massive moves on this one, it's tiny. Back to the center and then to the other hand. And again, back to the center, lift your head and relax. Good, okay. So let's do a little head movement. So we're going to bring our hand over our head. Now, instead of just doing that, I want you to put your hand on your shoulder and we're going to just move and just prise them very gently apart. And once you're there, I want you to do the same thing again. So as if your hand was there, I want you to look down. So you're twisting your head. So it's not just your eyeballs that are moving. Don't look suspiciously over to one side. I want you to actually move your head down. So that should be really strong. And if it is very, very tender in that area, this should stretch it out really well. Bring your stare and your head back to look at the screen. And then release. Oof, that's a good one. And then exactly the same thing. So holding onto your shoulder, holding onto your head, and just prise them apart nice and gently. Just remember your posture. If you started to slump, nice straight back, and then you're going to look down where your hand was. Now, weirdly, this sometimes makes my ear click inside because you are stretching all the muscles around here as well. Clicking is fine. It's followed by pain that we don't want. So look back at the screen and back. That's it. Good. Okay. So you should be feeling a lot more less stressed around the shoulder area. So before we come right onto the floor, I wanted to do a couple of movements which are on all fours. One of which is a really, really strong calf stretch out, which two of you need. So let's see if this helps. So just bring yourself onto all fours. I'm just going to move slightly forward because I'll lose my leg on the camera otherwise. And then you're going to push one knee slightly forward and then push one foot back. Tuck your toe under. That's really, really important, or else it won't stretch your calf at all. And then just push backwards. Now, if you want to create a bit more momentum, put your hands forward, and then you can get a little bit more momentum going in there. If you do feel like you're slipping, you need to put your foot on another surface because your foot needs to stay still. Now, if this cramps your foot, I'll show you another way of doing it. It shouldn't, but if it does, then there's a different way of doing this. That's it. Feel that it should be quite strong in your calf, this stretch. Okay, just release your foot, bend your knee back to the other one. And then we're going to shoot the other leg back, tuck your toe under, and then just push back. As I said, if you're not feeling this in the calf, you need to straighten your leg more and push further back. It should be quite instant, even if there's nothing wrong with your calves at all. It's quite a strong stretch, this one. And again, you do need to allow a good 15 seconds for your muscle to relax. It's quite strong, this one. Okay, and bring your knee back in. Wonderful. Right, bring yourself down into a child's pose. Just relax. Split your knees if you would like to, and then just really try and drop those shoulders. Drop your head to the floor. Now, the concentration on this one, apart from the fact this is a really lovely, relaxing move, just be aware that your feet can cramp with this. Your hip flexors and your knees are having to do a bit of work, but it's your shoulders. So really try and think, right, the reason I'm in this position is because of my shoulders. So really kind of stretch your hands right out and then drop your head and really try and concentrate on making your shoulders heavy. They won't reach the floor, but just try and drop them towards. Good. Okay, just slowly bring your head up and bring yourself out of that back onto all fours. Right, we're going to go into that calf stretch again, and then I'm going to spin it round to do the calf stretch another way. Okay, so one knee in, the other leg stretched out, turn your toe under, hands forward, and then push back. Now again, try and just activate your core very slightly so you're not flopping. There shouldn't be an arch in your back. It should be relatively straight. And just push back. Good. Okay, bring that to meet your other knee. Push the other knee back, foot turned under, and push. Just really relax that muscle, it's quite strong. Okay, bring your knee back, and then if it's comfortable to, I want you to just push up onto your knees. So the other way of doing this, if this does tend to cramp a little bit, it can be not quite as strong, but it is effective, is if you put your foot in front, and then you do have to flex your foot. We're going to bring it down. Now you should immediately feel that that gets all the way down. Okay, it should be really, really strong. That if it's too strong, come up a little bit more. Okay, if you're hinging right over and you're like, oh my God, just come up more, and that will get the stretch. If you can, hands on the floor. Now your back is very unlikely to be straight on this. That's fine. If you're like, it's all right, just hold on to your foot and then you can push backwards more. That does the damn trick. Definitely. Do you know what's really fun, everyone? My husband's just walked into the kitchen, helped himself to a really nice glass of looking rosé, and has wandered off with it. I'm like, oh, Wednesday, for God's sake. Right. Okay, release that foot, bring yourself up, and then bring it back and swap feet. Now, this is a bit that's actually relatively tricky. So if you're all over the place, obviously just stabilize yourself on the floor. Bring your foot out, nice and straight with your leg. Again, if you do a tiny hinge and you're like, oh, that's it, I'm done, then absolutely fine. The more you flex your foot, it should go lower. Okay, so if you don't flex your foot, you'll feel that a little bit higher. If you flex your foot, you'll feel it a little bit lower as well as higher. So again, we're here or we're on the floor, or if you're like, nah, I need more, then you can hold your toe and just pull, really pull that back. You may get a little tiny bit of an aggravation behind your knee. It's just the tendons being stretched. As long as they don't feel like they're going to ping, that's absolutely fine to stretch those tendons. It's just if they're getting very sore, then obviously don't exaggerate this move. That's it. Right, just release your foot. Bring yourself up if you've got your foot, and then we're going to bring it back again. Okay, onto a little puppy wag. And just relax everything, stretch it out. Woof. Okay, so from a calf's perspective, they're two really quite effective ones. So bringing it backwards and really stretching it that way, or bringing it forwards and stretching it that way. Typical runners stuff, that one. So a lot of my runners, they're like, oh my God, my calf. That's a really, really good one to do. So whilst we're down here, I want to put that leg forwards again, and then we're going to tuck our toe the other side, lift your leg, and we're coming into a pigeon. Now again, this isn't anything to do with your calf, but it's stress in your hips. So if you are holding a lot of stress, it may be quite sore, this one. Now, if you're holding it here and you're quite happy to hold it here, that's absolutely fine. If you want to hinge it forwards and put your chest onto your leg, that's absolutely fine. Rest down, go to wherever you feel comfortable. The idea eventually is that this foot is coming much further round. Now, my knee won't allow that because it aggravates, but if your hips are feeling particularly supple today, you can bring your leg further round. And then nice and low if you're comfortable to be. And just try and sink, just sink into the mat, this one. Just try and breathe any stress out. Yeah. lifting your head off the floor if you do have it on the floor, and come back with your hands either side of your knee. And I'm just going to do some little tiny rocks. Just little tiny rocks to the side. That's it. Good. Come back to the center, tuck your back toe under, you can't quite see, apologies. And then we're going to come up onto all fours again. Right, just give yourself a little dog wag. That's it. Okay. Now we're going to do the other side, of course. So knee forwards, get your foot out of the way, up and slide down. Now again, I do say this, one side may feel much stiffer than the other one. Usually for me, this is way stiffer, more stiff. So if we're up here, absolutely fine. If we're able to sink down, bring yourself down. It's a real hinge, that one. So try not to curve your back too much, it's quite a hinge. And we're sinking down. That's it. Really try and breathe into this. Sink into the mat. Slowly lift your head. And coming up. Use your hands and little tiny rocks. That's it. And one more each side. Come back to center. Tuck your back toe under. And then bring yourself up onto all fours. Now, whilst we're here on all fours, let's get a little bit of spinal movement. So, making sure you feel nice and comfortable and solid. I want you to close your eyes this time, okay? Just have a little breath. Try and relax your shoulders. Now, just mildly engage your core, just mildly. And what I mean by that is just sort of feel it a tiny, tiny bit more solid than if it was just flopped. So just pull it in just a little bit and engage it. Right, now we're going to come up into a really nice strong cat stretch. So drop that head right down, really curve. Bring it down to the center, lift your head, look up and sink it down. Now, when we're doing this, you all know full well how to do this, but have a think about how much your lower spine is curving. So what tends to get stuck in most people more than anything else is right here. It's nothing to do with this bit, that can go down. It's here. It gets quite stuck. So try and see if you can just really concentrate on that right at the bottom bit and really sink that and feel that movement in that part of your spine. It's quite a bit more stuck than other parts of the spine usually. So lift that head and sink. Right, now I want you to think completely the opposite way. So come back through, engage that core slightly, lift and really think, right, those bottom vertebrae, I'm going to really curl them. Tuck your pelvis right under, drop that head and really curl it up. Deep breath. On the out breath, come down. Again, think, right, I'm at neutral. That's it. Rebecca could balance her dinner on me. Deep breath in, and then on the out breath, sink it right down and think, right, I'm going to curve. I want to curve those ones at the bottom. Stick them right out. Lift your head. And then come back to the center again, come back to neutral. Right, now we're going to advance that slightly. So what I'd like you to do is actually just tuck your toes under. And what we're going to do is come up into a cat stretch, take a deep breath, and we're going to come straight into a downward dog. It's slightly strange, this feeling, but you've got to tuck your toes under and don't slip. So bring yourself up, tuck that head right under, really curve under. Take a deep breath, and then we're going to lift. That's it. Come right into that downward dog, sink your feet down. Drop that head and try really hard to relax everything at the back. So shoulders back, right at the top by the coccyx area, all the way down your legs, right to those calves. Now, again, if your calves are tight, this is always going to help, but it's not the only thing that it stretches, this one. Okay, come up onto your toes, and we're going to sink back down again. Now, as you're coming down, try and go into your cat. It's quite hard. So your knees are coming down, everything's staying in that cat position. That's it. That's not easy. Sink down, just to neutral. Good. Right, let's try that again. So breathe in all the way up, on the way out, breathe out, breathe out, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out and lift. Shoulders and core have got to engage to do that. And then sit back. That's it. Caught my earpiece. Sit right back. So this time you might feel that your heels are a little bit, if they're already on the floor, they're a bit closer to the floor. Again, really concentrate. Nice strong arms. Nice flat back. Glutes right in the air, all the way down your legs. Feel that strong stretch. Up onto your toes, and then sinking back down into your cat, cat. And release. Oh, that's strong. Lovely. Just sit back. Tracy in particular, just give your wrists a rest and a wriggle, because that is quite strong in your wrists. Right. Okay. Now, two ways of doing your shoulder stretch. So if we're here and you're loving that, that's great. If you want to come down, we're going to thread the needle through. So completely up to you on your choice. So if you want to split your knees a little bit and really sink right down. So try and keep bum on heels. Or you're like, no, that's too much. I'm up here. Absolutely fine. So we're going to take that arm, thread the needle through, and right down to the floor. I try super hard to be as low as you can. So that arm is very, very flat on the floor. Just relax. Okay, so round one, and we'll stay there. So we're going to bring this up, and then we're going to swap over. Keep it nice and low. Keep yourself low to the floor. Twist your head and sink into that mat. Really try and relax. So that really nice stretch around your shoulders, around that blade, pulling slightly away. Should feel really nice. That's it, and bring yourself back nice and slowly. If you want to do that again, and you're like, yep, I liked that, I don't want to do any more, thank you very much, then absolutely fine. If you want to exaggerate that, then we're going to come back again, sink down. This is the advanced one, so turn your head, bring your arm up, bring it around, and if you want to, you're bringing that leg out and straight, and you can get really quite a strong stretch on that. Now, for God's sake, your balance has to be good on this one. If you're like, I don't think so, absolutely fine, stay where you are. Lift that leg if you want to, and really get quite a far round stretch on that one. Okay, moving your leg back to where it was. You're going to bring your arm up and down and back where it was. Sink back down and unfold. Good, this is quite a way to unfold yourself on that one, isn't it? So back down again, other side. Again, of course, stay here if you want to. If not, we're going to twist, bring your arm up, nice and tall so you're looking at it. Round, and take that leg and bringing it out. And you can get a really good twist around there. Just make sure you use the right leg. If you try and use the other one, you'll just fall over. Hold it here, hold that balance, feel that stretch. Okay, bringing it down, bringing your arm up and round, sink down and unfold yourself. Oh, excellent, very good. Right, hopefully your neck's still okay on that one. Right, now I want to walk forwards and we're going to stretch those that core out. So it may be that it hasn't done too much work today, but we'll give it a nice little stretch anyway. So come onto your front. The dog might have joined us there for a second. And then you're going to put your hands in front of you. But I don't want them to be tucked too far. They need to be fairly far in front of you. And then we're just going to engage your back slightly to stretch your core out. So take a deep breath in. And on the out breath, just lift your head up. Now, I can feel that on my ribs. You should be sort of mildly sitting on your ribs. Try and relax your shoulders down. And what we should feel is a very, very mild engagement of your back. It should not be a pinch. It shouldn't be uncomfortable. And if I can point to where it is, it's about here. So it's just above mid-back. That your back muscles should just mildly kick in rather than them hurting. Definitely not. And then bring yourself back down. Deep breath in and engage and lift. Now, if that's comfortable and you're like, yep, that feels nice actually, stay there. If you're like, I'm not really stretching my abs actually, I'm fine, then put your hands forwards and lift. Mildly, okay? If your hips, I'll try and demo, if your hips are up here and you can't actually sink them down because your back won't allow, please come down further, okay? If you can actually keep your hips on the floor whilst you're doing this, then that's going to ensure that your back doesn't start taking this. Now the alternate version is here, okay? So that's your little half cobra. Your full cobra is here. And if you want to be particularly adventurous and or you need a big stretch and you're coming further up, please don't do that unless your back is okay to do it, because that's quite a bend. Push those shoulders nice and low. Making sure those hips stay on the floor. They shouldn't be raising. And curl it down wherever you are. Rest your chin on your hands and then just give yourself a little wriggle. That's it. Right, let's come onto our side and see if we can do some stretches from here. Now that's quite, there's no elegant way of doing this. Okay, so a quad stretch. So we've done quite a lot for the back, and I want to do a little bit for the front. Quad stretches when you're standing up are quite difficult, as a few of you know. So if you can do them lying down, it may be a little bit easier for you. So if you take your top leg and you're going to bend it, and if you can take your hand behind and try to hold on to it. Now you can just leave it there, and that, you know, as long as you've reached it, it's fine. If not, you're going to try and pull it in. Now the only danger with this is that you rock forward, so try really hard to just engage your core slightly. Now if you can't reach your foot and you're like, I can't even reach that, it's absolutely fine, just keep it bent and push your hips forwards. Okay, that should still get a stretch. If you want a further stretch and you can hold, still push your hips forward, but just keep hold of that foot nice and close to your glutes. That's it. Right, release that. And then we're going to go the opposite way. So bring it in and hold on to it. Now again, this might make you tip forwards. Use your elbow, use your other leg, you can bend it more. And you can get quite close with that knee. And just get a really good stretch. There's a hip flexor stretch. That's it, right, release. Let's do that again. So pull it backwards. Keep everything bent so you can balance. Just pull that hip forwards. Keep your tummy pulled in. And then release and bring it forwards. Bit of balance required. Keep that core nice and steady. Right. Okay, so we're going to do the other side. Now you guys can just flop over to the other side if you want to. I'm going to make sure I can see the screen still, so I'm just going to come up and over. And then we'll do exactly the same thing the other side. It may feel a bit tighter on one side than the other. That's fairly standard. So we're going to take, again, just bend it if you can't and put your hip forwards. If you can, to keep hold of it, take hold of it and then push that hip forwards. Try really hard not to roll. You need to keep your hips fairly stacked, or otherwise it won't quite do the trick that it needs to. Holding it there and then bringing it in. Again, it might be a bit tighter on one side than the other. That's it, hold it there. And bring it back. Hit that hip nice and forward, don't let it slip back. Feel that big stretch. And release and bring it forward. That's it. Nice and tight towards your chest. Keep hold of that knee. And release and bring it down. Excellent. Right. Now, whilst we're in this position, I just wanted to do the exercise that Tracy and I did this morning, or lunchtime actually. Just flip onto your back, and then you're going to use the weight of your head to stretch your neck out. So hands, just feet flat on the floor and tilt your pelvis. Hands behind your head and elbows nice and flat to the floor. So first of all, I just want you to have a little wriggle and just make sure that you are flat on the floor and comfortable. It does take a second. So heads, they're heavy, we know that. I just want you to just pick your head up off the floor and just put it up and down and realize how heavy it is. Now, if you've got this right, your shoulders should take a little bit of strain here. It should be like, oh yeah, okay, that is actually quite heavy. So we're going to use that to our advantage and stretch out your neck. Very rarely am I asking you to pull your neck forwards, because normally when we're doing core work, I'm asking you to bring your head up, not forwards. This time we're actually going to use it to stretch your neck out. So your thumbs, I want you to put them, there's like an indent right at the base of your skull where your spine meets it, and it sort of curves in and creates a little indent. I want you to put your thumbs there. Okay, so they're right in. Now this is what massage therapists do, and they hold there, and then you're going to lift your head. So elbows are out, mildly engage your core, press your thumbs and lift that head. Now again, if you have got a neck ache and or a headache, this is quite strong, but it should help. Try really hard to relax the front of your neck. Okay, relax it down, release your thumbs and relax. So shoulders have got to do a bit of work here. Reposition your thumbs, so bring them right in to that bit right at the top of your spine and right at the base of your skull. Elbows out, feel the weight of your head lift and pull forwards. So basically you're elongating the very top of your spine. Hold it there. Now the pressure from your thumb should feel nice, not awful. It should release some pressure. And bring it down nice and slowly. Release your thumbs and release your arms. Good. Right, just bring your hands out from around. Arms up to the ceiling. Push up to the ceiling, and we're going to cross those arms. Hold on to your shoulders. And then keep the bottom half where it is, and the top half you're going to bring across. So move your head and look slightly, but just keep your hips on the floor. It's quite a small move, but it's quite strong. And bring it back to center, and then you're going to twist the other way. Just sort of encourage your hand over with your shoulder blade. Look, but keep the bottom half still. It's not coming with you. And back to center. Release your arms. Come up nice and tall. Nice and tall, shoulders off the floor, and then release your shoulders down and bring your arms down. Good, lovely. Okay, use a leg. Just sit yourself up nice and gently. Oh, it's been a little while, just give yourself a second. Okay, right, spinning it round. Come back onto all fours. Okay, tuck your toes under. I'm going to rock back onto our toes. And then I want you to put your head down, your bum up, and we're going to lift. Whilst you're there, just stay there for a second. Nice and low. Drop your head. Nice deep breath. Feel that really nice sitting around your back. And very slowly, just engage your legs to bring yourself up and stack that vertebrae. That's it. Once you're at the top, I'm just going to move the camera. That's it. You should be, your posture should be feeling nice and tall. Arms all the way up. Deep breath in. And relax down. Lovely. Just roll those shoulders again. And we have been down on the floor for nearly an hour, so just give yourself a minute. Right, okay. I want to do one final little posture stack, and just making sure that you're feeling nice and upright, because if anything is hurting, it tends to ruin your posture slightly, and we start doing this sort of thing. So we're going to, from the bottom, stack yourself all the way up. And then you should leave the lesson thinking, right, at least my posture's sorted out. Hopefully relaxed as well. So you won't be able to see all of me, but I'll keep the camera there. So we're going to wiggle our toes. And then spread them out and really feel them on the floor. It doesn't matter even if you've got socks on, that's fine. And then I want you to rock back slightly and feel the heels. So your heels are right back on the floor. And then rock forward slightly so your toes on the floor. Now think, right, okay, what's the center point? You can close your eyes if you want to. Where's the center point? What are my heels and my toes doing? Okay, it's about there. Right, so keep that point. Then we're going to bring our attention up to our knees. I want you to just give your knees a little wriggle. Now, when your posture is standing right upright, you just make your knees very slightly soft. Okay, they're not pushed backwards and hyperextended. They're just loose, but straight. Okay, thoughts up to our hip area. Now again, depending on your natural posture, you might be slightly lordotic, which is doing this. You just need to tuck that pelvis under. So pull your tummy in very slightly, don't let it flop. Tuck your pelvis under slightly and just squeeze your glutes very, very slightly, okay? Bottom half should be thinking, right, feet nice and solid and flat on the floor. Legs just unlocked, just. Pelvis upright, tilted slightly, so I haven't got, you know, curved back for no reason. Just engage your glutes very slightly. Now I want you to bring your thoughts up to your core. So is it engaged mildly? When you've got an upright posture, it should be just mildly engaged. You don't have to squeeze them. I just want them to know that they're there. Now you're stacking your back, vertebrae by vertebrae, up, 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 up. That's it. And you think, right, okay. My back should have a very slight curve in it here, a very slight curve, but your shoulders should be feeling up and down. Big circles with your shoulders and bring them nice and low so they're not up by your ears. Now, the final thing I want you to do is just push your chest out slightly, because invariably we are bringing our chest curved. So I want you to just uncurve it. Your head, we're upright. Okay, so you're not looking down, you're not looking up to the ceiling, look straight ahead of you. Hands are nice and soft and heavy down by your side. So exact posture position should be there. You should be feeling tight and controlled but comfortable. Take a deep breath, close your eyes, take a deep breath and relax. And again, one deep breath and relax. Right, now your arms are coming up, deep breath all the way up. Big stretch and relax. And the last one, we're coming up onto our toes, all the way up, deep breath in, up, keep that posture, rise. Just be careful of your calves, Steve. And back down, arms back down, breathe out. Wonderful. Very, very good, everyone. Just give yourself a big shake out. Fantastic stuff. Thank you very, very much this evening for joining. Should be feeling a lot better now. Just unmute, put that on there and stop